And now I invite Dr. Sukumar Devotta, who is one of the eminent personalities in the field of environmental science and technology in India, and he was also our former director who gave very important contribution in our institute. Dr. Sukumar Devotta, please.
Thank you, Sunil. Good morning to you all, members on the dais, off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here as a part of this workshop, which is just close to the 6-month-old activity we had in Mumbai. The one thing I just wanted to congratulate NIRI now is that I'm not officially part of NIRI. I can speak as an outsider, that I would like to congratulate NIRI for its effort on solid waste management. Only when I went to NIRI, I realized how much we neglect waste in our research. Because it's a dirty area, so nobody wants to do research in a dirty area. They would like to do on very modern lab with the modern chemicals and things like that, but when it comes to trash, we treat it as a trash. So the only thing I found was the expertise and the dedication. It's not just the expertise, but also the dedication of the scientists at NIRI, including the age-old Mr. V.G. Bide in the research areas, and then down to Sunil Kumar now. And so that's something which I'm proud of. And the persuasion, they keep on persuading. We know that municipal solid waste management rules is there, and in many cases, India has no dearth of rules. Only thing is we violate it left and right, and it's very poorly implemented. And I was a part of the Supreme Court Monitoring Committee on Hazardous Waste Management Rule, and therefore I had to travel all over India. And in that period, I also saw the municipal solid waste management of the cities. And now I live in one of the dirtiest places, that is Chennai. And you can see trash all over Chennai, even on the banks of the river, and polluting not only the river, but also the atmosphere. It's burnt. So there are many issues. Although we have a rule which is more than 13 years old, we are unable to implement it. So we have to do a very sincere soul searching. And if you look at the numbers, it's very staggering that we are looking at numbers of something like 55 million tons of just municipal solid waste. And I always say that then similarly 38 billion liters of sewage. These numbers are what is collected. And if you go just outside the city limits, there are numbers which are not collected. If you take, I live in a society where water goes treated and goes into the river, but that is not collected and treated because it is not connected to the sewer. And therefore, if you look at the numbers coming out of reports and the numbers, real numbers which are likely to be, there is a huge disconnect because of the rapid urbanization. You go to any, now I do a lot of review of projects in Maharashtra, therefore I know what is the reality between the government number and the real number. And therefore, these numbers are huge, and there is a potential. And if you look at the potential, it is quite, again, staggering. The number, according to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, is about 1,700 megawatts potential just from urban waste, and it's including 225 from sewage. And we are only realizing about 2% of that potential. And therefore, there is a huge potential. While the technologies are there, many technologies are there, we seem to focus only on incineration, which is the most difficult one because of the various reasons which Dr. Rakesh Kumar mentioned. But one of the reasons is that even if you look at some of the data presented by NIRI and CPCB and other states, there is a wide variation in the characteristics between two agencies. So because solid waste is always difficult to handle in terms of sampling and analysis, and it varies with season to season. And so you will find that moisture is one major variable, and the organic content is another major variable which will determine the technology. And if you look at these two parameters, there is a wide variation in the reports, in the analysis. Therefore, you tend to choose technology which is sensitive to these two. Always, if you take combustion, you need less moisture, high organic combustion. But if the moisture is there, then you have to spend more fuel. Then the unit, the municipality will say, we don't have money to co-fuel, along with the solid waste. Therefore, the system fails. And likewise, there are other systems we are not exploring much, like biochemical conversion, then methanation, and then landfill gas recovery, which is very little is done. We tried our best to do something on landfill gas recovery from municipal solid waste. There's a huge potential because they are already there. They are already there, and it is. If you go there, you can feel the methane emitting on the landfills, but we are not utilizing it. And there are possibly much more sophisticated, like pyrolysis, which we rarely look at it except from scientific studies. And therefore, we need to look at the sensitivity of the choice of technology to the characteristics of the municipal solid waste. This is where I think n number of attempts have been made, and most of them have failed. Even in the city I lived, Pune, they had 10, 15 years ago an incineration plant, but it never operated, purely because of the mismatch between the characteristics and the requirement of the technology. We tend to think that whatever works in Europe or in US or Japan, it will work in India. Then we have to work towards meeting the requirement of this. So do we have that? The fundamental failure is the segregation of the source. As long as there is no political will and the commitment of the people involved, this can never work. So we have to somehow educate people about the need for segregation at source, and also take it as a mandatory policy. If you take MSW 2000 rules, the biggest failure in the implementation is the segregation at source. It just, everything goes to the landfill, and therefore landfill becomes a big menace. And if you come to Chennai, there will be at least every week, there will be 3-4 write-up about the same spot regarding burning, regarding the bird menace, or the local area people objecting, stopping this. And this happened in Pune also, in Maharashtra. People in the village, they said, so the NIMBY is going to be a major problem. So you need to reduce this load in the MSW landfills by appropriately choosing a technology which will be not only solve the problem of space, the odor, the menace of the health, because we never look at, whenever we talk about techno-economics, we don't look at hidden costs and externalities. We are looking at only what is going in, what is coming out. If you start calculating the co-benefits you get, because you're getting power, you're reducing the land, there is a better health around the city, all these things, if you put it, you will find that economics works quite in favor of these technologies. But the institutes involved, they look at only the power generated versus the money spent. This is something, again, as scientific forum, we should convince the policymakers, don't just be blindfolded and or having blinkers and think only about input, what output, but think about external benefits and co-benefits. So we have to educate the policymakers on co-benefits, and likewise we have to educate the people that by minimizing this, we are going to, and doing it properly, scientifically, we are going to minimize the other issues like odor and the space and coming to their area. And this is it's a real challenge. I'm saying this because we have seen many phases of trials, many phases of attempts, and we keep doing it. And I'm happy to see some successful models, but why they cannot be replicated? Why you cannot replicate introduce other technologies? This is something this forum has to address and come out. The choice of the technology and the sensitivity of the technology with respect to success on the parameters which can vary, it should be addressed. If you take only as a combustion, then if you are not going to control this sensitive window, then it's going to fail. We know that, but still we want to follow. And if so, then what are the other precautions to be taken? Or what are the measures, in terms of managerial measures to be taken to meet that tight window? These are not addressed, and then therefore our technology will continue to fail. And we will be blamed, the scientists will be blamed that you fellows cannot solve the problem. That's what they will say. It's very easy for therefore, as a scientific community, we have a responsibility to analyze the sensitivity of the technologies we adopt and implement that with some monitoring, because people think, why people object to certain technologies? Because they don't believe that the system will follow the rules and implement what they say. And this is where I in Maharashtra personally face, because in Maharashtra I'm the chairman of the Maharashtra State Appraisal Committee, and when the proponent makes a presentation, there is always a disbelief in what he is saying. The people are not willing to accept that I will do this, I will use the best DeNOx, or low NOx burner in a gas-based system. I get representation from all NGOs and local villages. NOx will be even though it's a clean fuel, NOx will be the problem. There will be inversion, there will be Chicago in our Maharashtra state. This is what they come and tell. How do you answer? Court also says, take these kind of things. So, we need to worry about such issues, and then look at scientifically and impassionately look at these issues and try to come out with a solution. And that is what this forum is all about. And we are struggling to solve this problem. We are struggling to solve the problem. There are suddenly you'll see some light in the end of the tunnel and it disappears. And then we again search for the solution. So I hope that end of the day, tomorrow, we have some clear picture on this very major issue plaguing India, and so that India becomes cleaner. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving wonderful speech which touched the real municipal solid waste management issues in India. And also thank you very much, sir, for encouraging us to excel in the research and development in municipal solid waste management area.